It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at maybe the next generation of Super Console X devices. Yeah, they are basically abusing this name because there are so many devices that are now named Super Console X or Game Box. So inside the box we're going to get another box. But then we're going to get, with this basic edition, we're going to get the Super Nintendo controllers. Yep, they are still selling them. And inside here we're going to get the deluxe toilet paper manual with some good explanation how everything works. And here you can see, like, I must give them some extra credit for that. And if you need to reconfigure of when it comes to the control, stuff like that, you can find it all in the manual. So then we're going to get ourselves like this converter. There's nothing in it because the SD card is already inside the console itself. Before we're going to talk about the Super Nintendo controller that came in this kit, also you can choose the option for a PlayStation Fake 2 controller. Take consideration that depending what kind of model, you have different kind of sizes, but also when it comes to controllers. But let's take a close look at the Super Nintendo one. I was just curious about the Super Nintendo one, and yeah, it makes no sense that they just keep selling these things because, yeah, it's a Super Nintendo, we're having 6 action buttons, and if you want to play some more games, it makes no sense whatsoever. I must say, when you feel the D-pad, it feels kind of cheap. There's nothing compared with the Super Nintendo controllers back in the day. The shoulder buttons feel okay, the ABXY, same story, but we do get the select start rubbery buttons. And not to forget, they smell actually very nice. Smell it again. Yeah. Nice. Alright, so the first impression is that this thing is really bad. Like the D-pad, oh man, it is not responsive, and somehow like it gets some weird inputs that my little gimlet go all nuts. So if you just want to walk around, it's okay, but I'm noticing when you want to play some actually fighting games, this is not a controller that you really want to have. So in my opinion, they just need to stop selling these weird Super Nintendo controllers. It makes no sense whatsoever, especially if you want to play some PlayStation 1. This thing is completely pointless. So what I'm going to do now is going to get myself an Xbox 360 controller. The ones I'm always using, and it's very compatible. It's just great compatible with these devices. I'm going to throw away this stupid Super Nintendo controller because it's awful. What are we going to get inside this package? So let's take a closer look. Then we're going to get the system itself, HDMI cable. We're going to get a power supply, and this is a 12-volt power supply. Take consideration that some of these devices will work on 5-volt, some on 12-volt. It's a freaking nightmare sometimes. And we're going to get the USB hub, and I really hate these things. These cheapo El-Tipo 2.0. Oh. You know, like these things break all the freaking time. Oh, there we got something else. And also, we're going to get ourselves the remote. Ooh, nice. Okay, so what we're going to get with this cheap remote, because it's basically an Android box with some naughty software. Then we're going to get ourselves the cheap remotes. This is like the basic models of the remotes I have reviewed here on the channel. So yeah, I've reviewed also like the remotes that it also have including the air remotes, but this is like the really cheap editions, nothing really fancy. But let's get into the Android system. So if you plug out the SD card, basically it boots up into the Android box. The Kin Hank is a TV game, all they want love to say it. Basically it is an Android box with Emulec. So yeah, it's a dual boot. Okay, so it just will take some time to get this M-Box, make your life colorful, but to boot up, yeah. So basically that will take some time. This is, I just am recording when I was booting it up. I just wanted to show you, it doesn't take a long. Online video, recommended, music, my apps, local settings. There's not a lot of stuff you can do with it. There are some apps installed like the Play Store. You can install some other apps if you want to. I will show you later on how you need to do this. But then overall, like the Netflix option is not a great option because it's on a rooted device, so you can only watch on 480p. A little bit of a bummer if you ask me. So what is interesting, there is an application pre-installed, so when you're plugging in USB device or an SD card, you can basically install your APK files. And for people wondering, no, it doesn't run GameCube whatsoever. And also doesn't run Redream, if I'm recalling it correctly. So this box is old and very limited. So let's boot up Ada64 and I will show you what I mean. So when it comes to the specifications, it's not going to be very interesting. It's just an AM Logic TV box, the P212. It's a really old spec, 1 GB of RAM in total. And then we're going to get ourselves the ARM Cortex A53 that runs on 1512 MHz. So when it comes to the specs, it's similar to the normal Super Console X. So let's get into the display. Here you can see it revs the Mali 450 MP. So this is a very old GPU, and the Android is in 7.1.2. So also this is prehistoric tech, and it's a rooted device, so you cannot watch Netflix on full HD and higher. But the system itself, I do like it. I really like what I'm seeing over here. So now with the first edition we had like our basic casings, but now they are like putting some more effort in it. Here you can see like we're having the translucent edition. I think there was like a black translucent and another like a white edition. Something like you have different colors, but what you can see, basically they slapped an Android box inside this acrylic box, and we're going to get this time a very big fan at the top. Curious if this thing is going to be like sounding like a freaking vacuum cleaner. So but let's do a quick overview of the system itself, what we're actually going to get. So on this side we can find the SD card. This is the tiny edition, the 64 GB. Then we're going to get two USB 2.0. So at the back we're going to get the RJ45 Ethernet connection, the HDMI out, input for the power supply, the on and off switch, something you don't see very often with some of these boxes, and then we're going to get an output for digital out. But let's do a quick overview of the system itself. Yeah, we're not going to do a teardown because you can basically see what's inside. I personally really love this, but that's of course my personal opinion. So at the back we're going to get over here a RAM chip. Then we're going to get here, and it's quite interesting, they did a soldering over here for the plus and minus for the fan that goes all the way up here. But another thing that I find interesting is that this thing, the production date. When you're looking at this, here you can see like they're using still the S905X chips version 1.2. But you can see like this thing is brand new when I was reviewing it. So this thing is made in 2021. Yeah, so basically that is what you're going to get with this model. It's not like really old tech or e-waste. No, it's like actually like a new product that they slapped inside a casing. It's quite interesting. You would expect that they're using old parts. Another thing I wanted to check out, like how loud is this fan? So let's grab my microphone and I will let you hear it. And you can just not hear the fan itself because this thing is super silent. But okay, so what are we going to get with this device? So basically what you can do with the Emulec side, it runs on 3.9, is a little bit of an older version now. It's a little bit of a bummer in my opinion, but still it doesn't spoil the fun because we can still play a lot of stuff that we couldn't play before with basic, let's say, game consoles from AliExpress and Pandora's boxes, stuff like that. So compatibility also for the really old stuff that is possible to play on this box. And of course, compared with other ones I've reviewed here on the channel, now we're having basically better cooling, and depending of course what kind of model. So we're going to test it out some games that most of the time have some issues when it comes to these cheap boxes, because this is basically what it is. Even this is just a brand new released kind of product. Still, they're using old low power chips. So let's start off with a really high demanding game, or high demanding. It's high demanding for cheap chips that they are using most of the time, let's put it that way. Sometimes we're going to get some mixed performance, especially when it comes to Athalmus Wave. These are just really demanding. So let's play a part of the game just to see what are we going to get. Because especially with a later part of the game, you will see that it will start to stutter. The part like this. So where a lot of these Super Console X devices have issues, this one, you can just hear it that it struggles. It struggles getting this to work. Maybe with some tinkering with the Emulec you can get some better performance. But most of the cheap devices we have reviewed here on the channel have the similar issues. But with Sega Dreamcast we're going to get a very good support for many games. You can see it with Sonic Adventure 2. The game runs very well. So far so good, no stuttering whatsoever. Okay, next up, let's try some arcade. Take consideration, these boxes don't run Killer Instinct. I like the really demanding games, or Tekken Tag, stuff like that. So you're basically limited to Mortal Kombat. Oh, damn it! What? And what I really like about these Android-based boxes is that the emulation for Sega Mega Drive is like excellent. In my opinion, spot on. And basically all the old stuff will run just fine. But when it comes to N64, yeah, this is just a system that will always struggle on these cheap boxes. Most of the time when I'm going to make a review about a Bodacera with a mini PC, then we can basically play this game flawlessly. But with a cheap box, absolutely not. But with N64 it is not always that bad. These cheap boxes will run most of the games on just native resolution. They will look okay, but it's not the best. Of course, if you have more juice, we can basically play it on high resolution and we're going to get better performance. Okay, next up let's try PlayStation Portable. And yeah, when you're having a system like this, it's super demanding. And with some two-dimensional games you will see some minor glitching, but it's still playable. So take consideration, PlayStation Portable, it's possible, but there will be a mixed performance when it comes to this system. So when you're looking at the Super Console X line, it's going to be in jungle of different models. And this one is no exception when it comes to having low power chips. I must say the performance, it's quite okay, you can still play a lot of different stuff on it. But again, it's new in different ways. For example, that we're having, in my opinion, a better looking case, and we're having a fancy fan, and we have a better cooling. And that is a big improvement, because the previous one did have some issues because it was getting really hot. But overall, they tried to improve. Now we need some more specs for better performance. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family. And I will see you in the next video.